We are 1 week away from free agency, which means between that and the draft, it is also trade season. Ben Simmons, of course, a name that's been on the lips of a lot of front office folks around the league. In fact, Woj reporting trade talks around Simmons are expected to indeed heat up this week. So, Tim, what is the best situation for Ben Simmons? And on the flip side, your old friend Daryl Morey, in terms of the Sixers, what they want to get out of this?
The situation, the scenario that's always made sense for me is some sort of C.J. McCollum for Ben Simmons framework. And they can argue about, who has to throw in what. But I think C.J. McCollum would give the Sixers that scoring, kind of secondary playmaking guard who could really help Joel Embiid. And I want to see Ben Simmons in more of a Draymond Green role. Stop putting him in a position where he's the primary playmaker, where he's the point guard. Let him be that secondary playmaker, that power forward with Dame Lillard, an elite, obviously deep-range shooter, pick-and-roll player, great leader that I think could help get his confidence up. Of course, the problem there is how much longer is Dame Lillard going to be in Portland?
Mark?
Well, David Fredman, I don't know if you guys know him, a longtime NBA executive, told me once, he'd never get too high or too low about how somebody plays in the postseason. I think Ben Simmons is still a great player, will be a great player. He's in Los Angeles right now, working with a Clutch Sports appointed shooting coach. Here in the Sixers are getting a shooting coach as well. He's in good mental spirits, working on his game in LA. He didn't get a lot of time with Doc Rivers. There was no training camp, pandemic shortened season.
Just throw that in there too.
I think you got to run it back with Doc. I know Doc likes him a lot. And see what happens the second time around. I think they need more time together.
Doc didn't like him too much in his post-game press conference when they got eliminated. Joel Embiid did not exactly indicate some eagerness to run it back.
In terms of Embiid, you don't hate on your teammate, man. I don't like that.
But he did, and it's his franchise, and we've got to recognize those as realities. Which
is that the kind of leader you want to play with, though?
Listen, I'm
teammate's legs out when he has a bad series.
We can discuss blame, but I just think that it is in the best interest of all parties for Ben Simmons to be playing elsewhere sooner than later. And whether a deal that makes sense materializes now or during the season, I would be surprised if he's a Philadelphia 76er next postseason.
Okay, but that begs the question then, Tim, and I don't disagree with you that, hey, it might be nice to get that clean palette, but at what cost, right? Because Mark's right. The playoff performance Ben had, it left a taste in enough people's mouths that it's a little bit of a sell-low situation. And if you're a franchise, you don't want to be in a sell-low situation. So, Mark, how would you balance those things? How would you balance the idea of getting a fresh start with your team right from the beginning of training camp, if you do bring in someone else for Ben, having Ben out of there, having this new person in there, being able to work the whole season and get some cohesion for the playoffs, versus the fact that you will just probably not get the value for Ben Simmons this week that you would 3 or 4 months into the season when people have gotten the chance to see him work again and succeed the way he did during the regular season last year.
Yeah, no, the Sixers haven't had enough time to take a deep breath and really see if this is something they want to do and not make an emotional decision. I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would love to have Ben Simmons and give that maybe Ben feels like it's time for me to go and try something new. But I think people need to just calm down. I mean, this dude is still a pretty great player. He had a bad series. Have some patience with it. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an optimist.
And we're back to panic or patience again. Here's the thing. And you don't want to sell for pennies on the dollar. You do need to get star value in return. And you can't, it's not about picks because you're trying to capitalize on Joel Embiid's prime, but you can't be too patient when you have Joel Embiid, one of the top 3, 5, make that argument, whatever, players in the NBA in his prime. You've got a window you've got to capitalize on. And I just think they've reached their peak with Ben Simmons as his co-star.
It'll be very interesting to see not only what move they make, but when they do it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.